We want you can pause the recording now. You want to okay. Les, I'll speak to you. You speak to me through Zoom.
One sec.
I can hear you, Leslie. Good afternoon. How are you today?
Sir, fine.
You are fine. That's good to know in today's times. To hear fine is very good. I'm sorry. I'm just working out something for the guest speaker. So give me a little time, okay? I'm just fixing something.
Hello, Aryan.
Yes, sir.
How are you?
Sir, fine.
Hello, Rudit. Good evening.
Yes, sir.
Good evening, Runit.
Yes, sir.
I said good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Okay. Hello, Dikshita.
Good evening, sir.
Hello, Biswajit. Hi, Sandeep.
Hi. Is that Leslie? Yeah, hi.
Yes, Sandeep, yes. I have not put on my video yet. Wait.
Ricky, very interesting. I've opened them, but it's not allowing me to save the files. Anyway, I'll leave them open. Koi upay nahi. Today is behaving very strangely, everything.
Hello, Pratiksha and Pratiksha. Let's hang on for a few more kids to join.
Are the kids all from Ngaon?
Yeah, right.
That's fine. That's fine. I'm just asking, are they all from Ngaon or they're?
Sir, no, sir. I am from Sibsagar.
Okay.
There may be a few from outside joining in also.
Right. Let me just switch off the light behind me.
You do that.
Glare.
Tara, can you keep quiet, please? Okay, Ricky.
Yeah.
Moi dutai download korilu. Korita, let us see if we can share it together, okay? I say there is an option. I have never tried it. I think we have time. So let me just do it. Your opening remarks are really wonderful. Really great.
Okay. Remarks, okay.
Yeah, but you also saw my comments and you agreed to that, so that's great. No, now let me share. Share. No, share out option. Thakibo lage screen share out. I think Leslie.
Yeah.
Please go to, you are the host, so you have control. Can you make me the host? Let me see if I can control something.
How was it? I go to
participants.
Yeah, okay, fine.
And then make me host and make. Then I'll make the two of you co-hosts.
You know, okay. I'm fine anyways because I'm.
No, co-host hole khali advantage to hat uthale dekha pabi. Digitally hat uthale. Eko koribo na lage toy. Tita gom pabi. Nole to gom na pabi.
I made you the host.
You have? Okay.
Yeah.
Now, who can start sharing all? Who can share when someone else? Okay. Now, I think it should be okay. It should be okay now. So, I'm going to, Ricky, you have it there, your side?
Yeah, I mean, it's recorded.
I'm going to share one, the Telegraph, okay? So let us see if you can also share the other one, the New York Times. Or
I can't. I mean, I have it on my WhatsApp, so I'll have to call Vinayak to help me with this.
You email it to yourself? Jano email koriba jano WhatsApp or pra?
No, jano. Well, I've sent
ইমেইল
it.
কৰি দে, ইমেইল কৰি ল্যাপটপত খুলি ল।
But how do I share then? How do I make it a screen share?
Oh, screen share. You go to the green button below at the bottom of your middle of the bottom of your screen in Zoom. There's a green button called share.
No, I'm saying in any case, we will do this towards the end. So I suggest you only do it.
I'll do it, but I cannot share two. So someone has to share one. I have to share one. বুজা নাই?
Acha, no, to me, you are saying that you cannot share two simultaneously, right?
এইটো এটা problem. মানে what option I've given is two
That is
participants
right.
can share at the same time.
No, that is fine. But you can always do it one after another, right?
Yeah, I can, and they can, as I said, take screenshots. Because you must give them a little time to look at the two and come. No?
So let's do one thing. Let me attack.
ঠিক আছে, এটাৰ পিছত এটা কৰিম, তাত স্ক্ৰীনশ্বট ল'ব দিম, তাৰপিছত তাত স্ক্ৰীনশ্বটটো অলপ টাইম দিম, 3 মিনিটমান to study and come back. We take it leisurely, no rush.
Sure.
Rush কৰিলে তাহাঁতৰ anxiety হ'ব.
Okay.
No problem. Excellent. So আমি normally 5 minutes extra দিওঁ over time. এতিয়াতো টাইমে হোৱা নাই. So let's wait. In the meanwhile, you want to know anything? Can you see my screen share?
Yes, I can. I've seen the.
Acha. Arihant, can you see?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Can someone read out the heading? What is written there?
Arihant, read it.
Can you all hear me?
Yes, Lorraine.
Yeah, can you hear
Welcome.
me?
Yes, we
Oh,
can
yes.
hear you and your cats.
Yeah.
Sandeep,
Yeah.
that is Leslie's beautiful sister Lorraine, who
Oh.
lives in Texas.
Oh,
Thank you. Good morning to you all.
She is a social worker in the front line on COVID,
Oh.
working very hard. Yeah, by the way, my cousin Sandeep, who we call Ricky, is my mama's son, almost died from COVID.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Thank you. He's
That would have been a
thank
great
God
loss
he's
to
alive.
humanity,
Yeah.
because he's a brilliant journalist and a very nice guy.
Great.
Yeah, all this sugar is being given because he's doing free for Leslie. Others, he wouldn't have got it.
No, I know. Somebody from exactly.
yeah.
So, Arihant, can you read what is there on the screen share, please? The biggest letters.
Sir, the telegraph.
Very good. Excellent. I'm going to stop share because first I will introduce Sandeep, and then we will go into other things.
Okay, there you go. Now I can see everybody.
Doreen, can you hear my daughter?
Yeah. I can't know. In the back. Yes. I think I
Make a
noticed
lot
now.
of sound. Lots.
Yes.
Oh, we have a lot of students. Oh my God, it's huge.
Oh, okay.
So the world will be reduced. The fake news will reduce in the world after this session.
Absolutely.
Oh, Diganta is coming in.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful.
That's his daughter, I think.
Yeah, she's whistling.
We'll have to mute her.
I can't mute my daughter. I have to put her in the car, close the door. She refuses to be muted. Tara,
Yeah.
come. I'll mute myself. Come. Come, baby. You want to listen?
If you mute yourself, we won't hear you.
Oh, there she is.
Oh, Tinku might want to join. Let me call him.
I thought you had already informed him. Otherwise, I would have informed him.
Hello.
Oh, in fact, serious
I don't know
news.
why.
Development is a horror. Sad news to come after the talk.
এটা দেখা নাই ভিডিওটো তো অনে আছে
Leslie, is my internet connection a little unstable?
It
Yes,
is.
yes.
I get the message.
It's not good.
No, so no, what is the issue here? You can't see me because I can see myself quite well.
Now your sound sometimes is little, wavering.
There is a lag
Yes, there is.
between the time I speak and the time you. Yeah, I wonder why that has happened. Shouldn't have happened anyway.
Right now it's okay.
Okay. Yeah, so I think from time to time it sort of drops.
Yeah,
The
drop.
connectivity, the strength of the connective connection drops.
Zoom to link to পঠিয়াই দিছো Zoom ঠিক আছে মই আৰু because they are going to start now I'm managing the technology. Okay, we have a minute 2 minutes to go. What can you do about the internet? Ricky kan mattu bhangi bhangi gole bor disruptive hoy bor distracting hoy.
এটা ঠিকই আছে।
এতিয়াতো ঠিকে আছে বোধ
worst
think
case
it's
হলে
all
তো
right.
ভিডিওটো অফ কৰি দিব লাগিব বা ষ্টুডেন্টছক ক'ব লাগিব ন ষ্টুডেন্টছক ক'লে লাভ নাই টু উইক হৈছে
No, more signal to more issue hai. Issue
Okay, everyone can go mute or I shall make everyone mute. Ricky, you'll have to unmute yourself then.
Yeah.
So
I'll mute.
by the way, Ricky, since they unmute and then speak when they're responding, it takes a little time when you question and they answer, okay? There's a lag always. And all of you, if you want to speak, you can raise your digital hand or you also can make comments on the chat. We can read out chat comments to the speaker. So that way you can simultaneously, one can speak, others can write on the chat. That is very effective as we saw in the last session. So Ricky, ready? You are muted, Ricky. You can unmute yourself.
I'm ready now.
Okay, great. So I'm going to start I'm going to start now because it's now 5 minutes over the time. That's the maximum. And we have a very good group of students. I can see a chat. Let me see what it says. Okay, in case there's some question. Okay, IR, Biswajit. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, our young ladies and gentlemen of Loyola School, thank you for coming in such large numbers and showing your interest in knowing about things wider than your syllabus. All successful people do not limit themselves to what they have to, but they go beyond that. And by coming to these talks, you are demonstrating that you wish to be well-informed citizens, responsible citizens, thinking citizens by coming and listening to talks from very experienced people from different fields. So we are very proud of you and we are very proud of Loyola School because you represent them. Now you are very familiar with this talk, so let me go straight and introduce to you our speaker and session facilitator for today, Sandeep Phukan. Sandeep, can you give a wave so that they know who you are? Yeah. So Sandeep, I don't see a wave. Yeah, you're only smiling very slightly. Hatkhon de ala upor le uthai. Eku dekha nai. Sandeep, can you hear me?
I did wave.
Again, you're breaking up. Anyway, so Sandeep, by the way, is a very senior journalist who you might have seen on many occasions on TV. He used to report for NDTV, especially in the field of politics, I think, and public policy. So I have seen him and he was commonly visible, a very good speaker indeed, and I used to be very impressed by him. However, after many years of working for NDTV, he has moved to the written media. He is now working for, I would say, one of the few newspapers which still remain very independent in India, a newspaper with a very long historic tradition, The Hindu. You might be aware of that. He is the deputy editor of the Hindu newspaper in Delhi. He is very happily married with a working wife and 2 lovely kids. Now, before returning to print journalism in 2017, and working for NDTV, his basic role, which was very important, was to break down political journalism in a language that each of us common people can easily understand. That was very important. Communication is so key. And he used to also, very important, because of his experience and skill, he used to mentor and train talented journalists in NDTV and was a trainer at the NDTV Media Institute. So you see, he's not only very experienced and knowledgeable, he was considered a very important resource material to groom upcoming and young journalists in NDTV. He actually started in the 1990s in the Indian Express, which was also then a very reputed newspaper. I don't know about its independence now. And he has written extensively, as he says, and analyzed emerging trends in political economy as a journalist in The Week magazine. You have heard about The Week magazine, I'm sure. Now, before that, he studied in the Delhi School of Economics Department of Sociology, where I had studied, and he not only did his master's, he has completed his MPhil there. And before joining the world of journalism per se, and after completing his studies, he had spent a considerable time, or maybe part of his studies, Ricky, considerable time on the linkage between media, public opinion, and the way it influences public policy. And you know by now, maybe, and if you don't, let me tell you, public policy is a key driver of what happens to us in a country. How the government decides what way to go affects each of us for the good or for the worse. So it's a very, very important field. Now, obviously, now with social media becoming so active, fake news is becoming, they are providing a platform for easy spread of a lot of good news as well as fake news. And you know, fake news can have terrible impact on people. In fact, fake news are made with the intention of some badmashi, if I may say so. I don't know if I'm correct, but perhaps in many cases that is the intent. So we have to be as responsible young citizens of the country as well as old citizens like me. We have to be careful to be able to not just accept whatever comes in written forms, whether in the newspaper or in the media, but see, is it this trusted material? Can I depend on it? And who better than Sandeep? Not only because he's an extensive and experienced journalist, but he has spoken on this topic in the world famous TEDx forum. So you know TEDx, very famous TEDx forums. Only very limited people are invited and limited speakers are invited. So he has spoken there. So I believe he's surely one of the best resources we can get on the subject of fake news. Now, having said that, interaction is very important. Remember, the objective of this session is not merely that you can get knowledge of the subject. No, 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 no. It is to encourage you to think critically, not necessarily just agree whatever Sandeep is saying. Suppose Sandeep is spreading fake news, how will we know? We don't know. So we must also think critically and ask him critical questions and make critical comments. So he has structured his session in such a way that he'll actually give you some case activities from newspapers where you have to identify, is this a fake news? Is this real news? And more importantly, why do you say so? And later he will ask you, what can you do to stop fake news before he shares his ideas? He wants you to think very hard and slow. So be ready and prepared and be as enthusiastic as you were before, because remember, our speakers are spending a lot of their valuable time. Today is his working day, but if it's a Sunday, he's a journalist, and they're not getting any money, no remuneration. They are doing it purely out of the largeness of their heart. So minimum respect demands that we pay full attention and participate and not do other things while showing ourselves as if we are online. Okay, so with that, I would like to invite Sandeep and other guests who are present here to the session. And Sandeep, the floor is yours. Any help you need with the technology, just tell me and we will move forward. Thank you,
Sure, I'll
Sandeep.
let you know. Yeah, thank you so much. Can you hear me? Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I think somebody has started sharing the screen.
Yeah, so what I will do, since I'm the only one sharing a screen, I'll stop allowing others to share screens.
Yeah.
And so that others cannot. Okay, great.
Right. Okay. So as Pritam was telling you, first of all, let me start by thanking the management of Loyola School, Ngaon, and Leslie in particular, the principal, for inviting me to share my thoughts on fake news. And, you know, we are meeting at a very difficult time. So before we begin, I hope all of you are keeping yourself safe by staying indoors. And I'm sure all of us collectively will be able to defeat the month after month now. So now let's start with, what do we mean by fake news? How do we identify it? What can we do to stop its spread? It's perhaps apt that we are discussing it now. Fake news too is nothing short of a virus, and we need to be just as alert as we are against the coronavirus. In order to understand fake news, we should understand first what is news. So I actually took the help of Oxford Dictionary and tried to find how do they define news. I will tell you how I define news, but let me first read out what the Oxford says. The Oxford Dictionary says news is important about, news is information, sorry, news, I'm reading that again. News is information about important or interesting recent events, especially especially if it's worthy of being published or aired on television. Now, keep a few things in mind. It's information that is recent. So, something that happened 50 years ago will not be news. It'll be news if it's recent. Second, it must be, the second element is that it should be interesting. Anything and everything is not, the fact that you have dinner every day or you have lunch every afternoon is not news, because that's routine. Anything that's out of the ordinary, that is not routine, that's interesting, that catches your attention, is news. And the third element here, though, I'm just breaking down the definition. Oxford Dictionary merely says that news is the information about important or interesting recent events, especially when published or broadcast. So the third element is that it should be worthy of being published in a newspaper, or it should be worthy of being published in or aired in a television channel. So these are the elements that are there. So when a reporter says that he or she is working on a story, it actually, all of us, I've been a reporter for over 20 years now. And when I speak to my editor, my bosses, and when they ask, what is the story that you're working on? I say, I'm working on a story regarding X or Y or Z. It doesn't mean that I'm working on something which is imaginary. When a reporter says he or she is working on a story, it does not relate to a make-believe world. A story in journalism is meant to convey an event in the real world. It could be a deadly accident, it could be a horrific crime, it could be a brewing political storm, a defining moment in sports, or it could be even an entertaining film that catches your attention, that's being talked about. So as I define it, this is my definition, anything and everything that is making news, events that need to be recorded for posterity. You call it news if it's an event which needs to be recorded for posterity, so that after many years, if you want to know how did the people react to a particular film, you look up the news about that film that was published around the time when the film was released. So in other words, today's news is tomorrow's history. That's how I look at it. And facts are the most prized possession that a reporter has. And these facts are ascertained with some very basic tools. In journalism, it's called the rule of 5 W's and 1 H. What happened? Who was involved? When did it happen? Where did it happen? Why did it happen? How did it all start? Let me explain. When somebody comes and tells you there was an accident, is this sentence, I saw an accident, is this sentence good enough for you to understand? Your obvious question will be, where did the accident take place? When did it take place? How did it happen? Why did it take place? Who was at fault? Who was involved in the accident? Are these not natural questions? These are questions that come to you naturally, right? And when you set about answering these questions, the way you write it, that's the report. Okay, that's a news report. That's how, as a practicing journalist, that's how I look at it. So, basic facts, and you ascertain these facts by using some very basic tools. And once you get them, you get your story, you get the news report, or you get your story. But storytelling now finds newer platforms. Earlier, you either had many years ago, you had only the newspaper or a printed journal, a news magazine, then TV, then came internet, and now there are so many other, on the internet, you have different social media platforms, right? So you can relay the same news on Facebook, on Twitter, on television, of course, there, but then also digital TV is something which is emerging very fast, which means that, you watch short clips no longer than 90 seconds, minute and a half, so that it catches your attention. You pack everything and then you give it, all those clips are made and inserted alongside a written report on the web. So that's part of digital TV, that's part of web report. Now, problem with proliferation of these platforms is that it also allows fake news to spread. And the reason, I will explain why that happens. But one of the primary, I always tell people, I'm not a regular in this, in the lecture circuit, but whenever I do, occasionally when I do speak to people and interact with people, platforms are, they are empowering tools. But if they are not handled well, then they can actually bring you disastrous results, because it is not regulated. Anybody can put up anything on the internet and people may just believe you. So there are dangers involved with that. That is why I say that as storytelling finds newer platforms, there is a new dimension that journalists need to deal with. Earlier, I just told you that a journalist would ask, what happened, how did it happen, why did it happen, where did it happen, who was involved, the rule of 5 W's and an H. But now we ask two other questions. Did it really happen? Is this really true? Does this exist? That is something which is, later on I'll give you an exercise, I'll share something and you'll be able to understand, and it'll get even clearer what I mean. Nowadays, you have to even ask these very basic questions. Is this true? Does this exist? So fake news, unlike pure fiction, what's the difference between pure fiction and fake news? Pure fiction, or a fictional story, is fiction. From start to finish that it's fiction. It may be great, it may be a great read, a book, but it's a fiction. You know that it did not happen in the real world. Unlike pure fiction, fake news is made to look like news, and it is always with clear motives. It's not as if that the concept of fake news did not exist. Of course, it existed. If you recall, who remembers the story of Ashwatthama? Anybody here? Okay, so anyway, Pritam knows, but let me sort of recap what happened, what had happened. In the famous Battle of Mahabharata, when Kauravas and Pandavas were fighting, Guru Dronacharya, the Bhishma, Guru Dronacharya was the guru who taught all of them. And obviously, the students were unable to defeat him in warfare. So they had devised a way that how do we bring down Guru Dronacharya? So at that point of time, they came up, Yudhishthir, Yudhishthir was the eldest of the Pandavas, and it was famous that he would never tell a lie. So if Yudhishthir says something, it has to be real. So in the middle of the war, Yudhishthir declared loudly that Ashwathama was dead. But the fact that he was referring to an elephant was spoken softly. The aim was to make Dronacharya grieve that would ultimately lead to his defeat. During the Second World War, Joseph Goebbels, and Goebbels was, we call, Goebbelian propaganda. So Joseph Goebbels believed in the big lie. That is, if you repeat a lie 100 times, people, take that to be the reality. They believe that that is the reality. So as I said, that it's not as if fake news did not exist earlier. It did. It's just that the ferocity and the speed with which it spreads on social media platform is unprecedented. It can irreparably damage a nation. It can impact the people. And I don't know how many of you would have followed. There were specialized agencies, now disgraced agency called Cambridge Analytica. They were hired by a lot of these political parties in African nations to do just that. They specialized in, in winning elections on the basis of propaganda and fake news. So, and so it can come with disastrous effect. And if you look at India, I have some data which I've collected from the site of Internet and Mobile Association of India, IAMAR, the agency called Nielsen, and it shows that about 45 crore people, the estimated number was 45.1 crore, between January and March 2019. Between January and March 2019, about 45.1 crore people had access to and using mobile internet. And majority of them were under 30 years of age. So on top of that, when data prices are so cheap, low tariff for data acted as a force multiplier, as a large audience of impressionable young minds provided the perfect ground to spread disinformation and propaganda. I must also point out that fake news is not the same as wrong news. Earlier, Pritam said that fake news comes with a specific design, and he's absolutely right. A journalist like me, despite several fact checks, can get a news wrong. We are all humans, we make mistakes. Wrong news is something that you make, it's a mistake. It can be an error of judgment, it can be inadequate information. Lots of people jump to the conclusion. It may be unverified information that got verified later, and then it turns out that the news was not true. But I would make, as a practicing journalist, I would make a distinction which is designed to mislead you. Wrong news is something that happened because of certain inadequacies, but it was not designed to mislead you. I may have got some wrong information, and despite my cross-checking, I could not verify. And that's why the information that you read was wrong. But the moment I learned it, I clarified, I corrected myself, I said that I stand corrected. That is an example of wrong news. fake news is something which is designed to mislead you. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Sandeep, we are getting a lot of rich information here. And since the short-term memory of us is short, so I would like to take this opportunity to just ask the students to recap a bit. What have they heard till now? Huh? So that they don't lose what you're saying at this point. In the meanwhile, tamu chat to sa. So, okay, boys and girls, you've heard a lot of very valuable content. All of spelling error is a chat to buji pabi. So I would like you all just to say offhand, what did you hear? Someone say one thing, another say another thing. What have you heard from Sandeep now? I'll also add. Anyone can start, including Lorraine, Leslie, the students. Tell us one thing you have heard from Sandeep which was interesting to you or useful to you. And you can guess.
Sir,
Yes, Aryan.
sir, the wrong news are not designed and the fake news are designed.
Yeah, very good. Wrong news is not designed to mislead, but fake news is designed to mislead. So wrong news can be corrected later. Excellent point, Aryan. Anyone else? Something else? He has said so many.
Not all the time fake news are used for purpose. Sometimes they are not verified, or sometimes they don't get the correct point, or sometimes they're wrong about the news, about the investigation. So they make.
Very good, Riza. It is, I think you're linking to the same point Aryan said, the difference between wrong news and fake news. Can someone tell me something completely different? Ricky has touched upon many points. I mean, Sandeep. Anyone else? Very good, Riza. Anyone else? Yes, this is not an exam. This is just to check, because if you haven't, he'll repeat or we'll repeat so that you remember, because this will help you in the next part of the session. Yes, someone else.
Uncle? Anybody
Yes,
else?
sir. Fake news and wrong
No pressure,
news
no
are not
pressure.
true.
Okay.
Acha, Leslie, maybe you can add something you have heard other than that. If you have heard, and I can add, but I want the students to go a bit.
Yeah, I'm waiting for them actually.
Yeah, exactly. Wa,
Nargis?
Abiru, Tabassum, yes, Biswajit, whose ever pictures I can see. WG.
Okay, let me ask something. Is fake news, did fake news happen just like in the last few years, or you think that fake news always existed?
Aha, good question.
Sir, fake news always
So
exists.
Always
sometimes,
What was the
existed.
example that I cited?
so sometimes people just
Sir,
make.
Yes, Konkon, please tell us.
Or it always existed.
So do you remember the example he mentioned, or do you have an example of your own of an old time fake news?
No, sir,
The
it's a
story of the
recent.
Ah,
Sir, the abducted ONGC's personal
yeah.
was reported that he has been uh, he has been sent back to home.
Aha.
But after 5 minutes, we got a news from Prague News that he is still in Myanmar.
Aha. So was
And
it fake news or wrong news?
so the first news that he had been sent to home was fake.
How do you know it was fake?
it could have been wrong news.
You said fake news is designed to mislead. We don't know, but it could be wrong news also. But when Yudhishthir says Ashwasthama Hata, means the son of Ashwasthama was the son of Dronacharya, but then they beat the drum so that they couldn't hear the second part. Itikin to Gaja, means that is an elephant that was designed to mislead. But we have focused a lot on that one point. Some other points he has mentioned. For example, he defined what is news. Can you tell us what some of the elements of news are? Is anything news? Is anything news?
Definition of news.
Sir, everything is not in news.
Sorry,
News composes of
তোমার clear নহয় ভালকে কোৱা
Sir, news is always not a simple sentence. A news contains 6 W's and one H, such
Very
as
good. 5 W's and 1 H. Very good. Any other elements of news? It has to be recent.
Recent information.
1,000-year-old. Yes, it will be news if the 1,000-year excavation has revealed something now. It has to be recent. What else?
And interesting,
Interesting. Very good. What else?
relevant.
Yeah. Relevant. It'd be interesting, of course. To be interesting, it has to be relevant. It has to be worthy of being published. For example, it may be interesting to a few of us about what my bird is doing, but it's not worthy of publication. Maybe it's worthy of publication in the Parrot magazine, but not in the Hindu. So it has to be worthy of publication. Very good. But Sandeep said something very important. He says traditionally the journalist used to ask the question 5 W's and 1 H. When it happened, why it happened, where it happened, what happened, to whom it happened, or something like that, and how it happened. But now they have to ask some additional question because there's so much of.
Sir, is this true?
Exactly. Very good. Is this really true? Did it really happen? So you see, all these you must keep in mind. He also said that fake news is nothing new. But why has it become more important now then? If it was happening from the time of Mahabharata or whatever, why is it becoming important now? What did he say? Or what do you think?
Sir, sometimes the fake news could harm someone very badly, because sometimes if you get some fake news, you could go deep inside it, and you could like you would regret about you are you that.
Right. Yes, very right, Raisa. Fake news could impact very badly, but fake news could impact badly even during Mahabharata time. Dronacharya stopped fighting. He put down his bow. He was killed. So why has it become more important now?
Sir, because nowadays fake news are spread so highly. Like if you tell me something, I'll tell the other one. I'll tell Leslie sir. Sir will tell another one.
How will you tell? You will go to Leslie sir's office and tell him.
Sir, no, because now we have internet and all other connections. Now
Sir,
they use statuses, text.
Yes, very good, Raisa. There was no internet, at least as far as we know, during
sir,
Mahabharata. Yes, Arihan.
sir, sometimes it like be, sir, WhatsApp messages, no, Cadbury is giving free baskets and Amazon.
Yes, very true, very
Those
true.
are example of fake news. What Raisa is saying, it has become more important now because unlike 2000, 5000 years ago when perhaps there was no internet, it was difficult to spread the news like a virus. But now, as Sandeep says, it's become a virus. It can be spread. When Raisa gets a news, she can forward it to 10 people. That 10 people, each of them forward to another 10. They could imagine within an hour, hundreds and thousands of people from Australia to New Zealand to America will get the news and be influenced negatively or otherwise. So that is why it is the social media, the presence of internet and social media has made it more important for us to be cautious about fake news than it was maybe 200 years ago or before the internet came into effect. Even Goebbels could not lie so easily because he had to depend on the radio. He had no internet. Then he could have caught everyone. Thank you. So collectively, remember, it's
was always a tactic that was used during warfare. We must keep in mind, Mahabharat was also war. So was, Goebbels was, Goebbelian propaganda was part of Nazi war.
Yeah.
In Europe. So, but right now, this is not the case. Whether you're in war or in peace, or you are in peacetime, fake news is all pervasive. It's there everywhere, and it's very difficult. It's very difficult, to the best of us. I mean, it's very difficult to identify fake news. And as I said, I think one student talked about a boy, one Prague channel, the local channel, saying that a boy was released, and then they said no, he's still in Myanmar. Now that can be an example of wrong news, because you see, when they gave you the news, it was not designed to draw you out into to instill fear, or it was not designed in a particular way. They were giving the news that thought that their correspondent got some information without maybe enough fact checking, cross checking. They put out the news, because that is another problem that many television journalists, and I've been one for nearly 15 years, that is one problem that many television journalists face, and you must understand, which is competition. Every journalist wants to be ahead of his competitor. So Prague News perhaps thought that it is better to be faster than News Live or DY365 or Network 18 SMEs, and that they put out the news without enough cross-checking, without enough verification. There used to be a rule in journalism: when in doubt, cut it out. But television being a medium that is connected with speed, many reporters don't have that luxury, so they put out everything just to be ahead of ahead of his competitor. But at times he ends up putting out wrong information. But I would say that that wouldn't be fake news, because they would have corrected it immediately. But if they continued to run it for days on end, despite knowing that this is not real, this is not true, then that would be an example of fake news. If they know the truth and they refuse to correct it, and they refuse to let their viewers know that they made a mistake, and they carried on, then that's an example of uh, fake news. So,
Sandeep,
as I
I was
was saying, that yeah, go ahead.
Sandeep was thinking now they have an idea of what is news, the basic. What is news? It's certain kind of information with certain character. They have to be recent, they have to be interesting, and they have to be worthy of broadcast or publishing. Then we have looked at what is wrong news versus fake news. Wrong news is because of inadequate information to support what is being said. It could happen because of innocence, it could happen because of incompetence, it could happen because of competition, and you want to be the first one out without getting the facts checked. But fake news is much more dangerous because it is designed to influence people in a certain way, and it can cause a lot of harm. Now, at the same time, you just said it's very difficult to identify fake news, even for senior experienced journalists like you. So I was thinking, it's your plan, but I was thinking, is this not an appropriate moment to give them the task now to see if they can identify some fake news which you had planned? What do you think? Or you want to discuss something else?
Yeah, no. So yes, I was actually, Pritam will share two images with you all. One is real and one is fake. I want all of you to take a good look, and by real I mean that it was published in one particular newspaper, and one is fake, but it was circulated. It became a viral image through WhatsApp. So lots of people in India got that WhatsApp forward, and they kept forwarding it. So I'll come to that. First, let's do that exercise. Let's do that screen share and put up those images. And then I would request all of you, anyone can have a look and then tell me which one they think is fake.
Okay, good. So what I'm going to do is, remember, even for a person like Sandeep and other journalists, so we're not saying this is easy. We want you to think hard. So what I'll do, I will share one image, you take a screenshot. You know how to take a screenshot, I hope? Okay, take a screenshot. Because then I'm going to share a second one. You take a screenshot of the second newspaper. Then we'll give you some time. I'll give you 5 minutes time. Each of you compare the two. Think about what Sandeep has said, and then you have to do two things. One, you have to make a conclusion. Which one is the fake news? Because both are not fake. Which one is the fake news? That is the first thing you have to decide. And then that's not enough, because you might just guess. We don't want guessing. We want some professional judgment. So then you have to write down on your paper, why do you think this is fake news? And you don't have to get the right answer. It is more important to hear why you think it is fake. That is more important to understand than to get the right answer. This is fake and this is right. Because guessing also I can do. Are you okay with that? Are you ready for this very stimulating?
Yes,
game?
sir.
Yes, sir.
Say the first one, and you will have to see. Okay, here comes the first one. Please, I'm going to enlarge it. Take a screenshot, please.
Sir, my is computer.
Okay, then you take a picture with your phone. Or any
Sir,
you can take
Wait.
Zobra's Windows plus PTRC.
Tell them how to take a screenshot. Good, please tell.
Zobra's that khirki button, not click on that and now PRTSC, that button.
Very good. PRSC. Very good. You're very smart, Aryan. The rest, please take screenshot. I'm giving you some time.
Wait.
Yes, yes, I'm waiting. Don't worry. We have enough time.
Sir, wait.
And if you have difficulty, take another phone and take a photograph.
Sir, which news?
The telegraph, no? The one you can see on the screen share. Take that one. Can you see the telegraph news on the screen share? Or have I
Yes,
made
sir.
You see the telegraph? Ricky, which one
Yes, sir.
Sandeep? You're muted. Sandeep?
Yeah, I can hear you now. I was actually speaking to somebody
Which
on
one do you
phone,
see?
so I had.
Which one do you see now?
This is the one telegraph. That's all. You haven't
Good.
put the second one.
No, I will not. So all of you now, is there anyone who has problem? Please tell me. Have you got the screenshot? Okay, excellent. Now I'm going to stop sharing this one and I'm going to get a new share, okay? This one I'm going to give New York Times. Remember, it's a different one, New York Times. Okay. Can you see the New York Times? Ricky, can you see?
Yes, I can.
Good. So all of you take a screenshot of this one. I don't know if it's coming out very clearly though. Okay. Have you done? Anyone not done? Okay, good. Now,
You can keep this for some time.
I'll keep this for some time. In the meanwhile, you look at now you have 5 minutes, okay? I'll keep the time. I'll let you know when there are 2 minutes left. You have 5 minutes. Carefully study. If you want to consult with your family members, you're most welcome. You carefully study and do two things. Identify which one is the fake news according to you. Secondly, write down. Don't think, please write down so they don't forget. Why do you think this is fake news? There could be more than one reason. Okay? Okay, the time starts now.
Sir,
Yes,
sir, only the heading is visible. Inside the heading portion is not visible, sir.
I know it's not very legible, but Ricky, is it possible to identify based on the image?
Yeah, I mean, this is New York Times. I can see everything. I can see the photograph of a crocodile.
Yeah, but you can't read each of the news. They are very small fonts.
No, that's fine. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. So as long as you can see the New York Times, the India's PM cried, and the picture of the crocodile, that should be sufficient for you to be able to identify according to Sandeep. Of course, you may not agree with his reasons when he later shares. We will see. Same with the Telegraph. And finally, your answer can also be that you cannot identify.
Yeah, we don't need to read the news, particular news items on the page. We just need the image. The reason I shared, because both the newspapers have a similar image, putting crocodile on their front page.
Sir,
You have about 4 minutes left.
sir, I think the second one, the New York Times is the fake news because why would they talk about that India's PM
Raisa,
and
Raisa, no speaking now, please, because you will influence the others. You work on your own. If you finish, you keep quiet. We will call you after 5 minutes. You write down whatever you want. Now, no more clarification.
মই ক্লাস কৰি আছো
And please mute yourself. Okay, you have about 3 minutes.
Hello.
Sir, can you give again the news of the telegraph?
Okay, I'm going to share the news of the Telegraph. Oh, this is not the one. Sorry. Sorry. Now I've shared Telegraph. You have about 1 minute.
This is the Telegraph news.
We will discuss later, please. When I tell you, now do your assignment.
Sir, I have find it out.
We will discuss later. Just do your assignment on your own now. Ricky, to koi dibi kuntu dekhawa laiba kitia, huh? When you discuss, first we'll get their views. Okay, time is getting over. Try to summarize now your points. Those who couldn't decide is perfectly fine. It's not an easy job. Those who guessed, you have to tell us you guessed. Okay. Now I'm going to stop share for a while. And please write on the chat, each of you, only write which is the fake one. Write Telegraph or write New York Times. Don't write 2-3 sentences. So the one you write is the fake one. Please start writing. And Ricky, you can look at the chat, and Leslie and Lorraine. Please start typing, no speaking. Let us see what is the spread. You don't need to give your reasons now. Don't give. Just write the name of the newspaper where the news is fake. Yeah, Telegraph is the real one. Okay, the others means is the fake one. Okay, write the name of the fake one. Most of you are saying New York Times. Very interesting, except one person who said Telegraph. Very interesting. New York Times is the fake. They seem to be on consistently saying New York Times. Very interesting. Don't get impacted by the others. Even the minority can be right.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, some more, please. If you are guessing, you don't need to write. Don't write guesses. Then you just remain silent. It's okay. But those who are confident, you write, because we'll ask you for your reasons very soon. Okay. Practically all of you have said New York Times. Now what I want you to write on the chat so that Sandeep can read is, why do you think, what are your reasons for concluding that the New York Times is fake news? Please write. One has written crocodile lives in water, but that is in a desert. Okay. Okay, good. Excellent, Runit. I don't mean correct. I'm just saying excellent. You've given good reasons. Anyone else? Others who have said New York Times, please write. Why do you think it's fake news? Now enough about writing which one is fake. Give your reasons. Yes, I see reason only from two persons, Raisa and Runit. Very different reasons given by the two. Very good. We want different kinds of reasons. Yes, others. Start now giving your reasons. I noticed that you're very quick to write which one is fake, but you're slow to write why the reasons. Be careful. It is not good ethically to say someone is fake unless you're sure. That is also not correct. Okay, Orish, it's fine. Yes, want to see more reasons, please? No. Don't write their intention like they are trying to humiliate. No. We want to know how you decided that it was fake. Like Raisa has written something, Runit has written something. Those are the kinds I want you to write. I can cry for a crocodile. I'm very friendly with crocodiles. I love them. Okay. No, we don't want to know what is the fake news that we know. We want to know the reasons why you think is fake. Okay. Okay. Yes, you can leave, Orish. Because New York Times is foreign newspaper, but it is written that Indian PM cried. That's okay. There's no connection between India's Prime Minister. Okay. The news was like a meme. What is a meme? Meme. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Some more, quick. Look, there's a lesson I learned from here. You are very quick to say someone is fake, but you're not able to back it up with reasons. Huh? That is, I think, unethical. You can't do that. You can't say Pritam is lying and then not give reasons. My reputation is spoiled. Okay, I'll give 1 more minute max for reasons. Then I'll hand over to Sandeep. If you have new reasons, you're welcome to type. What do you mean the words have been designed? Cannot understand. Sorry, I'm not satisfied with most of the reasons. Some of them make logical sense. I don't know if it's correct, but lives in water, lives in desert, as I can understand. Because Syria surprising boom. What is that? The words have been designed, cannot understand. There is no connection between India's prime minister with crocodile. That is a metaphorical connection. Of course, that might be too much English for you. Okay, while you keep typing, Sandeep, first of all, was the majority conclusion correct? I have no idea. Sandeep.
Yes, actually, most of them. Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Am I audible? Yeah. Yeah, so I think most of them got it right.
Yeah.
The New York Times, the screenshot that we had shared was, was fake.
Right.
I'll give a context, and the screenshot of Telegraph that we used was real. Incidentally, both were referring to the same incident, except that one was completely fake. The other one was taking a dig at the Prime Minister without spelling it out, without saying so.
Sandeep, what is a dig at the Prime Minister? What does it mean?
I mean, they were basically mocking the Prime Minister without clearly spelling it out, without taking his name.
Okay.
The context is that a day earlier, the Prime Minister had interacted through video conferencing. He had interacted with health workers and frontline workers of Varanasi. Varanasi is his Lok Sabha constituency. And at one point, he got very emotional. His voice choked, and he paid homage and condolences to the people who lost their lives during the pandemic. So that was news. It was picked up by most news channels. It was shown. The Prime Minister got emotional. Prime Minister cried, and he asked people to be alert because the pandemic is not yet over. Now, as a response, social media, especially Twitter, there was what a hashtag is, right? Hashtag is when you put that hashtag and then you write crocodile tears. So the theme crocodile tears started trending. It became, so everybody started commenting on the visuals of the Prime Minister and use this hashtag crocodile tears. One Indian newspaper actually went ahead and without any reference to that event, put the image of without any reference to the Prime Minister or his speech or his video conference. They just put up those that image and those words. Can we just put that up again? That
is the Telegraph, right?
Yeah, Telegraph. The words are, don't blame the poor crocs. They shed tears when they die. When they dine, not when they are sad, right? It's a commentary. It's a commentary, but there is no direct reference to the event. As I said, that those who had followed what was trending on Twitter would probably make a connection immediately, but they left it at that. The other one, can we go back now to the New York Times image? Can we share that again?
Let me find it. Why it's all Telegraph? Yeah.
Yeah, so here, it clearly, see on top of the photograph, it clearly says India's PM cried. So, I mean, as a professional journalist, I can find many things which is not right with this image, but the biggest thing is that why, I mean, this is again taking a dig at the Prime Minister without referring to that event, but they have put a photograph. It says India's PM cried. So they, there was a more direct connection. Though where did he cry, over what, it doesn't say, but it puts the photograph of crocodile, tears coming out of his eyes, and then the headline. So there's a more direct reference to the prime minister, but not, the reference to the event where actually the prime minister got emotional, right? Now, can we move on? So I want to come to the next part of my talk
Before you
before I
move on,
wrap up. And yeah,
before
so,
you move on, Sandeep, I'd like to
so
say that it is very important for us to recognize what is fake news, but as responsible citizens and responsible journalists, we also have to take great care before we call anything fake news. We
yes,
have to have the right reason, logic, and evidence. Otherwise, you could be destroying someone's reputation. So please be careful. Don't go around guessing like that. Find good reason. Check with others before you say it's fake news. Okay?
yeah. So I'll give you the reason, but let me first say, how does fake news spread? So as I was earlier telling you that in India, our own experience is that fake news can spread really in any of these platforms. Social media, what's the difference between social media and mainstream media? In the mainstream media, you have a set of fact checkers. You have a set of editors. It is a regulated sector. So if I get something wrong, if I do something deliberately mischievous, take action against me. They can suspend my license. They can cancel my license. You get to print a newspaper or run a television channel on the basis of a license that you get from the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. Now, if I do something mischievous, there is an authority who's monitoring me and who can take action. But uh, in the world of social media, it's always proxy servers, anonymous Facebook pages, bots, completely faceless Facebook accounts, faceless Twitter accounts. They may not exist at all, but they are still spreading fake news. Somebody is behind them, but you don't know who's behind them immediately. So it is that much more difficult to take action against them. That's one. Of course, now social media platforms are coming up with their own mechanism. Recently, a very prominent spokesperson of a political party, he had shared a document on his Twitter handle, and Twitter called it manipulated media. We've seen that happened to one of the most powerful men in the world, former president of the United States, Donald Trump. Often his tweets would come with a tag saying manipulated media. Eventually he was suspended. His account was suspended permanently because what he had put out on Twitter was not truth, and it was not truthful, and Twitter acted against him. But as I said, this is an unregulated sector. It's very difficult now. Increasingly, these companies are realizing to the threat of fake news, but it is very difficult. And as I said, that fake news can have disastrous consequences. All the students will remember there was a very sad incident in Assam when two musicians called Nilotpal Das and Abhijit Nath, they were attacked by a mob in Karbi Anglong. How many of you remember? A few years ago, you remember?
Yes, sir.
Very much.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. 2017.
Right. So a few years ago, very unfortunate that these two youngsters were lynched by a mob on the suspicion of being child lifters. Now, how did that happen? The information that we have, I mean, it's still a case that is going on in courts and the matter is sub judice. So we should be very careful in how we what we say on a public platform. But so far, the information that came out, and that is the information that is available, in the public domain, suggests that these two boys had picked up a fight with some people, some locals there, some local boys there. And, they were sort of, they fought with these people. And then these two musicians, Nilotpal and Abhijit, they decided to move away from that area. But the local boys wanted to teach them a lesson, so they spread the news on WhatsApp that child lifters are roaming around in the area. And that is how, they were surrounded by a mob, and eventually, they were beaten to death. So as I said, that they can have disastrous consequences of fake news. And often the unsuspecting recipients of such fake news become participants in the process. Every time you forward a WhatsApp forward that comes from Sandeep or from Leslie or from Lorraine or from Pritam, you believe that, Sandeep or Pritam or Lorraine or Leslie or Vikram are people that I can trust. So you read that message, you consume it, and then you forward it. That's how it spreads. Fake news, these social media platforms give legs to, fake news to travel far. And that is the reason why we must counter. We must do a few things. I will just give out a few things, what you should do. So what can you do to stop fake news? Before I actually make my suggestions and wrap up this session, can any one of you suggest how can you stop fake news?
Yes, take a few seconds to reflect and then just start. Just say. Yeah.
Sir, by stop is spreading.
Okay.
Yeah. Stop
Sir,
by.
before sharing any news or any like photo of any fake news, we have to investigate if it is true or not. Research it in Google, like it happened or do it exist or not.
Very good. I don't know who spoke. Raisa.
Sir, 5W and 1H. Sir, we have to investigate this.
Very true.
So are you saying that there should be enough information in that news to be able to take some kind of decision? Is that what you're saying? Before you forward it to someone else? Okay. Someone else, very good. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but at least answering.
Sir, another thing is sometimes people take photos like there is written prime time or any other news channel and there is written a fake news. They just use it to make memes and all. First of all, we see it. Is it there in the news channel or in the paper?
Your voice is breaking, Raisa. Can you be a little louder?
Please clear your voice.
Can you be a little louder?
Sir, are you able to hear me?
Yeah, now better.
Yes. Now
Sir, I said that before sharing any news, sometimes there are a type of photo or any article like written prime time news or news 18 or whatever it is. Sometimes there are written news, fake news, just for making memes or any fun type of thing. So we should see whether it is in the TV or in the newspaper to see is it right or it is just made for fun.
Okay, very good, Raisa.
Yeah, okay.
Then
Anyone else?
Pankaj Jyoti said that some elements of 5W and 8 should be there. There should be some context to the news, not just chapot something, a photograph, and that's it. He said, do that. Anyone else? How can you identify? Because all of us are forwarding so much of stuff and causing panic during COVID times. What else?
Sir, at first we have to see the title. Say one time a fake news was sent to me that Amazon was giving. In Amazon there was an offer, and I click on the link and there I saw that Amazon Big Billion Days. Sir, it is not possible because Amazon tells great Great Indian Festival and Flipkart Big Billion Days. Sir, this title is only wrong. Then I
Sir, I want to talk about
Excellent.
his
Very
topic or her.
good.
I don't know who is speaking. Well, that point that Amazon is giving some type of gifts or sort of gifts or any other recharge process. From my knowledge, I know that is fake because some types of hackers use that link. If you click on that link, they will hack or hack your device and store your data and all.
So you are saying
Good.
basically when there are news items, the thing which says click on this link for some benefit, it is very risky. It could be fake news and it
Yes,
could be
sir. Sometimes hackers use our device and they take our useful data, for example, bank information and all, and they
yeah.
take it
sir
from us.
and get access and do illegal works.
Good.
Okay, very good. Anyone else?
Said one time fake news to me because one one day before I clicked the link for message coming to fake news. I clicked the link, but it say you are to spend the this your dead iPhone for
Uh-huh.
free. But
Uh,
I was click to spin, but I would click this, but I was click the iPhone is given to free. It's bit
uh-huh.
possible. It's bit impossible.
Uh-huh.
Mm.
Okay. Okay. Anyone else?
Sir, another is there some links given by our friends or some our like relatives and all. Like click on this link, you will get one gift. Just log in your something, Instagram, Facebook, or anything. Those type of links are made by our friends only by some trick of hacking. So if we log in our account, then they will get our password and informations.
So basically, any news or any information that comes which requires you to click a link which you do not recognize, the chances are it is dangerous. Don't forward it to others, please. Do not forward. Another one says, Raisa, you said when you get news on social media, try to check at newspapers, TVs, whether similar news is there. You can now use the internet versions of good newspapers, TV channels. You can check there before you forward. Okay, then sometimes you see that they are faking titles of, or slogans which are already used by others. That could be fake. You also see cases where they emotionally manipulate you. If you forward this to so many people, something good will happen to you. If you do not forward it within 3 days, something bad will happen to you. And in a country full of superstition, many people by fear they forward, and that way they are stealing data. So whenever you see emotional threats like those, highly risky. Okay, Sandeep, would you like to share how
Yeah.
we can, as common
Sir,
people, are,
sir,
yes?
in last 3 or 4 months only there was a news that sir some name that who was died 27 years ago.
Who? Who
And
died?
sir, if sir, no sir, there was written a name I forgot it, but I there was written that some woman died 27 years ago, and that message, if we don't say our mother also died in 20 days.
Uh-huh. So what are you saying? I couldn't follow. Sorry, Aryahan. Would you
Well,
follow, Sandeep?
he's talking. No. Yeah.
Sir,
I
he is
think he
trying to
is
say some
giving
type
an
of
example of those emotional messages that come to you that if you don't
Ah,
follow, something bad is going to happen. Yeah.
uh-huh.
So anyway, I just want to wrap up by saying a few things. I mean, by suggesting a few things that you should do. So what can you do to stop it? Fake news will not stop unless you stop receiving it, start questioning, and countering it. Every time you receive an WhatsApp forward or a link that opens up in an unknown server, ask yourself the following question: why have I not seen this in a regular newspaper?
Yeah.
Why has this news come in any TV channel? Why is it that this has come only as a WhatsApp forward?
please.
If you ask these basic questions, then that is the first step towards countering fake news. That is the first step. You must ask, why have I not seen this in a regular newspaper or a regular channel? And if not why, I mean, if it has not come, then you must ask why it has not come, right? First, why have I not seen? And if I have not seen, then why? I mean, why is it that I am getting this uh, WhatsApp forward or on Twitter? It means that that is the first step towards countering fake news. Point number two, I'm sure all of you are familiar with Google, right? I mean, all of us know Google and the benefits that it has. Now, Google
Yes,
has
sir.
something called as Google Lens. Now, if you get a picture, uh, it could be a very disturbing picture, or it could be a morph picture. Try to apply, copy paste that picture, put it on Google, and do a Google Lens. What Google Lens does is that if it's already a viral picture that is, that's been shared, millions of times, then it'll tell you. My internet got a little unstable. Can you hear me now? Am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay. So you can do a Google Lens and see, when you do a Google Lens, Google actually takes a close look at the picture, and it tries to, if it's, as I said, if it's already a viral picture, it'll give you details of how that picture has gone viral, how many times it has shared, its origin. If there is a fake news associated with that, Google will also bring up those news clarifications or news. Cannot detect picture, it means so that you get an idea. That that this particular picture does not, is not representative of the thing that it is meant to convey, or it is being used to convey. I'll give you an example. I don't have that picture right now with me, but an American newspaper used a picture of a woman lying on the footpath and gasping for breath, right? And some health workers attending to her. Now, that went in an American newspaper as front page news. It turns out in Hyderabad, in Andhra Pradesh, in Telangana, where there was either Telangana or Andhra Pradesh, I'm not sure, but but one of these two places where there was a gas leak, a plant, an industrial plant. There was a gas leakage, and lots of people got affected, and lots of them just sort of fell on the streets, and they became unconscious. A lot of people died, and that happened pre-corona. Now, the simplest thing, again, it's very difficult. The simplest thing would have been to identify any picture from pre-corona is to look around for people with or without mask. If it's after corona, you know that people are wearing masks in public. The health worker, everybody would be wearing a mask. So you can easily identify. But in this case, it was not possible because this was a case of gas leak. This was a gas leakage, and people had, they were severely unwell, they had taken ill, and lots of people were wearing masks to protect themselves from inhaling those, toxic gases. So they were wearing masks. So that made it all that more difficult to identify that as a fake picture. Okay, so, but if you do a Google search, Google shows you the correct picture. The same picture was used for the gas leakage story in Hyderabad, in a Hyderabad publication, right? So that is the second test that you can do. I mean, in this case, the same picture was used, so one was lucky, but it's not that, I mean, one is not that lucky because the guys who are behind fake news, they also do a lot of research to make fake news look like absolutely real news. So what is the third thing that you can do? Now, there is a growing breed of fake news warriors. I don't know how many of you have heard. How many of you have heard of alt news? Alt news? Anybody? So there is a site called altnews.com. Okay. There are other sites like boomlive.com, factchecker.in. These are all fact-checking sites. Okay, so make it a habit to visit these sites, right? You keep going to these sites and keep checking whether a news is real or not. Because if a WhatsApp forward has reached you, in all likelihood, it would have reached a lot of other people. It would have been viral. So news sites, I mean, these are actually fact-checking sites like Alt News, Boom Live, factchecker.in. In fact, even regular news channels like India Today, they also have a fact-checking desk. So
Sandeep,
make it a habit to visit these sites. Yeah.
Sandeep, can you please type those 3 sites in the chat so that we can copy it, all those who are interested? Thanks.
It's alt news. Can you see?
Yeah, we can see.
No, sir, in chat the message is not coming.
It will come. It is coming. I can see. Oh no, you send directly to me. You have to send to everyone. Select in the chat upper search field, put everyone.
Wait, let me see. Everyone. I've given that. Let's see.
I will.
Has that gone?
No, sir. It is not coming now, sir.
Ahibo.
No, sir, not coming.
Can everyone see now?
No, sir.
No, sir. Sir, no see.
Acha, I'll do something. Let me copy and I will send it to everyone.
I can only, I don't know why
No problem. I'm sending to everyone. Okay, I'm just about to send alt news, boomline, aru tinta distinta the duta hai disa dekhun.
Factchecker.in.
Fact checker. Okay.
There are lots of other sites. So the next thing that you can do is actually all these sites also have a section where you can, if you have a doubt, just ask them. You can ask them even on Twitter, alt news, can you please tell us, is this true? Is this news real? So they do their own research, but you can go on to Twitter or you can go on to Facebook, you can tag them and you can ask this question. Make that also as a habit. You should do that because they will do it for you.
What do you mean? Suppose I get a message on WhatsApp, where will I tag? Where will I write?
Yeah, so suppose you have a WhatsApp forward about a particular news, right? Let's say a photograph. So you copy, paste that photograph, you go on to Twitter, paste that photo, tag their handle, Twitter handle. They have Alt News has a Twitter handle. So you ask them, Alt News, is this real? So they will respond. Or they have a section in their own website. If you go to ask us, they will have a section called if you have a query, please place your query there. So if you place your query there, they will answer. Okay, and so they take the trouble of finding out, and they will give the best possible answer uh, with a lot of background. They do a lot of background, and they put up their. They take a couple of days, but they will give you their conclusion of a
Very
particular photograph. And the last rule that I want to share before I end: follow the simple rule of good old journalism. If you are in doubt, cut it out. So if you're not sure, then don't keep forwarding. As I said earlier, that unwillingly, unwittingly, you become a participant in the process of propagating falsehood and fake news. So doesn't matter whether Sandeep sends it or Pritam sends it, whoever sends it, because that's the benefit. You see, WhatsApp is not visible publicly. Only you get to see, or the group that you are part of, right? Only those many people get to see. On Twitter and Facebook, if you share fake news, you run the risk of being called out. If I post a photograph, for example, the example that we had just shown of New York Times, of that crocodile and the Indian Prime Minister, incidentally, two public personalities, including a very prominent politician of the Congress Party, former Chief Minister Digvijay Singh, shared it on his Twitter handle. Another prominent lawyer, Prashant Bhushan, he also shared it on his Twitter handle. And the moment it was shared on Twitter, you see, Twitter handle is public. How many of you are familiar with the Twitter, the platform of Twitter? Students, how many of you are familiar with Twitter?
Yeah, I can see one hand.
Sir,
Nargis.
me.
Me doesn't help. Raise your hand digitally.
Okay, so there's Nargis, Abhi, lots of you. Yeah. So Twitter and Facebook, you can't put something and you can't put up something on your Twitter handle or on your Facebook page without realizing, without being visible to others. At least on Facebook, at least your friends will get to see, and on Twitter, those of you, people who follow you on Twitter will get to see. Your followers will get to see. On Facebook, your Facebook friends will get to see. So it's public. To that extent, it's public. So when you put up a fake news, somebody is going to call you out saying that, look, Sandeep, this is a fake news. This is a morphed picture. But on WhatsApp, you have the luxury of, proliferating fake news without being called out. That's why WhatsApp is the most preferred medium to spread fake news, because there is an element of trust when Sandeep forwards it, or Pritam forwards it, or Vikram forwards it, or Leslie forwards it. There is an element of trust. You read, you consume the news, and then you again proliferate by, forwarding to 10 other people. That is why nowadays WhatsApp has started a message saying that tag said forwarded many times. It means it tells the recipient that Sandeep may have forwarded it, but he has also been forwarded by somebody else. He is not the author of that note, because it's only the person who receives on his WhatsApp, only he of anonymity. Also, there is an element of trust, because I send it to people who I know or who knows me. So there is an element of trust, and there is also an element of anonymity, because it's between me and the person whom I have sent. Am I making sense at all, students? You can be honest, don't worry. Okay? How many of you keep watching the WhatsApp all the time? Don't tell me that you all don't have WhatsApp. I'm asking students.
Yeah, but me too. I'm guilty of it.
Yeah, all of us are. I mean, it's very addictive. So, yeah, so I mean, in the end, I would just like to end with some really beautiful lines from a poem of Rudyard Kipling. I keep 6 honest serving men. I'm quoting. I keep 6 honest serving men. They taught me all I knew. Their names are what and why and when and how and where and who. So I recommend all of you to keep these 6, as long as you keep asking and do not consume anything that you receive passively, you will be able to fight fake news. As I said, that the first step to fighting fake news is to stop receiving uncritically. I mean, you have to be critical. You have, no matter who sends it to you, you have to start questioning, why is it that I have seen this fake news or news on my WhatsApp? Why is it that reputed newspapers haven't published this? No news channel has shown this. Why? So if you start with them, I mean, sometimes it may be genuine. As Pritam said, that it's not fair to call anything fake without doing your own due diligence, without doing your own search, your background research. You should not declare that this is fake. You have to come up with a reason why it's fake. So while you go, when you set out to look for the reason, you will do your own research, right? And when you do your research, you will definitely come to know why it's fake or whether it's fake or not. Sometimes, as I said, that this is a basic start. You must ask, why have I not seen this in a regular newspaper? Why have I not seen it, on a news channel? But sometimes genuine news may not also come. It's not an exhaustive thing that I am suggesting. Regular newspaper that may not be covered by a TV channel, but that does not make it fake. But when you ask questions, you at least go about researching about that event, and that will lead you to the right answers. So that's all from me. I think you guys have had a very I don't know whether this was useful for you guys, but I of course enjoy this. So you're free to ask any question if you want. I don't know what's the time limit though, because we may have run out of the 90 minutes. No? The Zoom has a certain time limit.
No.
You unmute.
Anyone has any questions, comments before we close?
Sir.
Yeah.
Sir, I have heard that Zoom was created by a man who wants to talk with. Is this correct news?
Sorry, come again.
Aryan, you're not clear.
Sir, one I heard from you today, Zoom was created by a man who was away from his girlfriend and wants to talk with her.
Maybe. You know what he said? He asked. Zoom was made by a person who wanted to.
Yeah, no, no, I heard him. Yeah. So the best thing to do is you should, yeah. So that's a good question in a way because I don't know. I don't have the answer. But uh, if I were to do, I mean, if I had heard this and if I was curious enough to know whether that's the origin of this platform Zoom, then I would have gone to their website, their registered website. I would have looked for the column saying about us. So if I could not get there, then I would have done some research on some tech sites. How did Zoom come about? If that also did not throw light, then I would have looked for the Zoom founder. Who's the founder of Zoom? How did he come about? What was his business before? So the more you research, the clearer the picture gets. And then I think you will get your answers, Arihan. But unfortunately, I can't tell you whether he had a girlfriend and if that was the reason why he developed this software.
Pritam, you're muted.
Any other questions, comments, including from guests? Yes,
Lorraine, you're muted.
Unmute yourself, Lorraine.
You're still muted. Okay.
No, again muted. You're muted.
No, Lorraine, you're muted.
Okay,
yeah.
can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Oh,
yes, we can.
Okay, thank you, Sandeep and Preetam and Leslie. This is very useful for me. It was very interesting and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Oh, thank you, Lorraine, for joining all the way from Texas.
Right, no problem. These are useful.
Okay, Sandeep, I think I'll bring this, I will summarize what you...
Somebody raised the hand. Diganta raised the hand.
Oh, Diganta, please.
Yeah, Sandeep, I've been seeing you on TV for maybe 15, 20 years. I'm Preetam and Leslie's schoolmate. And true to the introduction, you really simplified fake news better than anybody ever has. So thank you very much for doing that with these young guys. I enjoyed it. Take care.
I'm so glad, Digant. Thank you so much.
Diganta is one of the most well-informed persons in this world, by the way. He is, like, I don't know how many newspapers and magazines he reads, 30 maybe a day, I'm not sure. So whether the Hindu, I'll have to check though. Huh? Anyway, so great. So
thank you.
I'll bring this to a close now.
Then thank you for sparing your precious time with us.
Absolutely. Yeah. He's on a working day today. He's working today. Yeah.
Absolutely,
so
yes.
I can see many comments on chat. I loved it. Thank you so much. This was so interesting. You can see in the chat, many of the kids are writing. They feel more comfortable. And indeed it was. So just to quickly, I know it's taking long, but so that we don't forget, Sandeep spoke about what is news first, the basic, that it has to be recent information, interesting, worthy of being broadcast. Then he says, in addition to the traditional 5W and 1H of journalism, nowadays you have to ask questions like, is this true? Did it really happen? Then he made us aware there's a difference between fake news and wrong news, where fake news is intended to mislead, while wrong news is just that you don't have enough facts, wrong facts because of incompetence, lack of time, competition, whatever, but is not intended to mislead. So therefore fake news is more dangerous. Then, unlike mainstream media like newspapers, TV channels, which are licensed, they're regulators, people are monitoring them, and therefore proper fact checks are done. There are fact checkers, editors. Social media is quite unregulated, and therefore social media has become a very dangerous platform for the spread of fake news, being unregulated. And particularly so social media like WhatsApp, where the content is not public, it is very private to the receiver or the receiving group. So there is very little way to double check someone to call out, hey, this is fake news, unless the recipient themselves are aware of it. So, and we are very common users, I think WhatsApp much more than Twitter, I think. So that's on. Then he spoke about what we can do. You gave some examples. He has given some wonderful examples. Is one question: why have I not seen this as mainstream media? Means when newspapers and TV, because they are also always up to date. So why am I not seeing it there? Second, why has it come only in WhatsApp or Twitter? And WhatsApp is more dangerous. Then use Google Lens, Lens. That's an app you can download on your phone. I have it. It's a beautiful app. Use Google Lens to check images, whether those images have actually been used in another news for another context totally and been put in a misleading way, like that gasping moment on the streets. Then you can use fact-checking sites like Alt News, Boom Live, and Fact Checker. I think these are very powerful and we can easily use this. So from now on, I think we should commit anytime we read news, especially those which are dangerous, negative, panic-causing news, let us check. And finally, he has said, when in use the old rule of journalism. You've checked everything.
When in doubt,
make up your mind. When in doubt, cut it out.
cut it out.
Do not spread it. Please don't do that. Especially now, a lot of panic can be caused by spreading fake news. That was a summary. I hope, Sandeep, I've not left out anything.
No, that's a very good summary. Yeah.
Yeah, beautifully done.
I said that's a very good summary.
Thank you. It just shows that I've been listening. Thank God. I listened very carefully. It was very interesting. So now I'd like to hand over to the principal, Right Honorable Principal Leslie Matthew, to say a few words of thanks to our wonderful first session speaker and facilitator.
Sandeep, on behalf of the kids and everybody else who attended this, a big thank you. I mean, it was very useful for us, especially to this impressionable mind. You know, fake news can really, wreak havoc with their mind, with their thinking. So if at this age they learn how to do the right thing, to disseminate information, then it will be a great help. So thank you again. I hope we can have another session with you sometime in the future. And thank you for sparing your time. Thank you so much.
Sure. Thank you so much. Pleasure is mine. In fact, I look forward to visiting your school next time I'm in Assam, and hopefully when things.
I know. Yeah, do come. I'll give you some good duck curry.
No. Now look, that is what. He is unreliable. First, he had said pork curry. Now it has become duck curry. So you have to do some fact checking on his school. Is he reliable or not, this fellow? Okay. But coming to the point, do you have another 10 minutes or you are busy? Why we normally meet after a talk to have some reflection on what you think went well, what you think we could do better in future. If you have the time, you can join us. But since it's a working day, we understand. Then you can let me know later.
I'll actually have to leave now.
Okay.
7:15 my time.
Okay.
So yeah, this is really the peak time. So copies will start coming. I'll have to start editing.
Maybe you, Leslie, and I will chat separately on a day when you're present. But may I request Digonto, if you're free this Sunday, and Lorraine, Leslie, and we can meet up and just take a reflection on the session. Okay?
Yes.
Okay, Digonto, are you there with us?
Yes, I am good.
Wonderful. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the young boys and girls, you may leave now. Thank you very much for staying till the end. We are very proud of you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye, sir.
Bye, Ricky.
Bye, sir. Thank you, sir.
It's important to tell you.
Bye-bye, Sandeep.
Bye, sir.
Bye-bye, sir. So next time, call BBF India.
Who?
Bye-bye, sir.
Don't know what
Bye-bye,
to say.
Sandeep
We'll ask
and
him.
Pinto, sir.
Next time we'll get Shah Rukh Khan.
Thank you. Yes, very good. Good time. Go for.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye, sir.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, sir.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, sir.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Pramod is also here. Pramod is my star maths teacher. He's also here.
Oh, I see. I was wondering whether it's the father of some child.
No.
There.
He's nowadays he's a little free because everything is online.
Aha.
sitting at home, everybody's got time.
Yeah, I joined half an hour before, not half an
Yeah,
hour,
I
near
saw. I
about
noticed.
45 minutes before.
Yeah, I
Promote,
noticed. I saw
stay
you.
with us. Please stay with us. Okay, I'm going to start removing
Even
the
Narvi is there. Even Narvi is there.
Oh, Narvi, please stay with us. Why is she hiding?
I don't know if
Okay,
she's really
sir.
there. She's just
Okay, sir, I'm
Indranil.
leaving then.
Pramod, would you not like to join us for the meeting debrief? It will be nice to hear what you have to say about the meeting.
Okay, okay, then I will join, no problem.
If you
Yeah,
are free,
stay.
no pressure. If you are free. Okay, I'm just removing the others now. But I don't see Narvi. She's not around.
She was there initially, then she left, I think. My own children don't join. I tell them so much.
I volunteer you. Okay.
Okay.
Diganta, Lorraine, Pramod, the basic purpose of this meeting is a reflection, a feedback, just to assess what you think, what went well, and what could be done better. That is the first objective. Second is, you have seen these talks. Do you have someone in mind or some topic in mind without having the speaker in mind? Both can help, because we are always looking for new topics and new people to speak. We are doing it once a month now, otherwise it's becoming too high pressure to get once a week. So first of all, can we reflect on how do you think the session went, and if you could be specific, why you think it went well, why you think certain things didn't go well, things like that. Anyone would like to get the... Yeah, Lorraine,
yeah, I think it was a wonderful topic, which is very relevant to today's, age and time. Very relevant. It's very important for the kids to learn. I think very well. The speaker was fantastic. He was very simple, explained in simple language too. Everybody could understand, especially the children. So that was a good thing.
Would you suggest anything different in future if the same session is run? Anything to make
different in sense topics or?
No, suppose a similar kind of talk is held. Of course, we won't have the same topic, but any difference in the way the session is managed by the speaker?
I can't see anything. I think it was okay for me.
Great. Yeah. Okay. Yes, Leslie?
Yeah, there was an issue with the sound.
Yeah.
The sound was a little
technical,
problematic, technical.
I think that has happened a few times. I think we need to do some sound check before we start a session.
Yeah.
When the speaker's sound is breaking up, is very distracting.
That depends upon the network, so that you cannot do anything.
Yeah, we can't help.
We have promote. There are situations when some of our speakers have two networks. One their own mobile network, and they have Wi-Fi, so they switch. So there have been situations where they have improved when they realize it was not working well. They switch network and they're able to work well. Similarly, my brother.
At least speakers would use a very good network like the 5G or the this one. What I said.
Yeah.
Geo fiber networks.
Yes, if they have it, that's what. And sometimes promote. Like for example, my brother in US. He has a very big house, so he has many modems. He doesn't realize when he goes to a certain room, his voice is not coming. He doesn't realize. But when you do a test check, he realizes, then he goes to the room where the network is stronger. So those kind of things we have actually within our control. Beyond that, of course, we can't. We can't improve the quality of his internet permanently. That is not possible. Very good. Diganta, any thoughts?
Yeah, one thing, since it's been such a fabulous effort from you guys over a period of time, and some y'all have recorded. Leslie, I think if you have a banner behind the speaker which says Loyola TED Talks,
That's a good idea.
Yeah, when you download them or when somebody watches it, they'll identify it with you.
Right.
And you can put Loyola TED Talks speaker's name at the back.
You
That's
mean
number
in the
one.
recording?
In the recording, and even when it's live, it may not be possible, but just check it out. Something which says Loyola Ngaon TED Talks. Speaker Sandeep Phukan, journalist. Example.
Yeah, like a banner which appears all the time, no?
No, we create a background for the speaker.
Yeah,
background. Just create a background for the speaker. Like I have a background right now.
Yeah, you are in Norway instead of Pritham.
So something like that I have to
Secondly,
create for a speaker, which I can share with all the speakers.
Yeah. Every time we change.
That's a good idea. Very good idea.
And secondly, Sandeep, of course, spoke so simply, so beautifully. I saw the profiles of the children who were about 11 to 14, 15-year-old. Maybe if he just had a few slides when he spoke. So what is fake news? What is fake news? So fake news versus wrong news, and vivified them.
Yeah.
It may drive home the point a bit stronger, is what I felt.
Right.
Yeah.
A visual medium to reinforce what he's saying. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Very right.
Otherwise, he's a fabulous. I mean, the clarity with which he spoke was so nice. I mean, it was very good.
So the one is a banner kind of thing. It will come as a background for the speaker, and obviously then it will come in the recording. And second is, if you could use, at least the speakers could use some minimal slides to make sure there's a visual element to reinforce the learning memory. What about Pramod?
And keep it for later.
Yeah.
Pramod, what are your thoughts? Your reflections?
Yes, sir.
What are your thoughts on this?
No, I find very good now. At least I come to know that our student can speak very well. They know the reality.
I was initially apprehensive that the children will not understand what he's saying. But,
they understand.
They understood.
Yeah. So how many students were there?
No, at least what the Raisa said, big billion or billion big, that's even she knows the difference.
Yes.
They know the difference.
They're very sharp.
So Leslie,
Yes, Lauren.
how many students attended this?
We
So
had
started off with about 70.
Oh, very
gradually
good.
some left.
Okay,
So
that's a good turnover, right?
78 and it came to 55, which is great because
Very good.
20, in fact, we start from 10 onwards. Our basic point is that is voluntary. You need, but we make class 8 compulsory now because you can't have speakers with no one there.
Yes.
And to learn, no? If you're
this is a very good thing which Leslie and you have done for the school, which is a very good thing because now with COVID and everything going on, this is the only way of learning, and these are good topics that you'll have been having.
It's all Leslie's idea. I'm an implementer, so
but you're a fantastic moderator, and
I put myself in. But Pramod, I would like to say not only to many speakers, and most of our speakers are brilliant people, academically and otherwise. They have said students are very good. You see, don't trust them. You must trust their capabilities. They are very
No, even I saw the class 6 students are speaking very well. They have the idea about this fake news. At least they have the idea. They have the concept.
And they sound interested. They were very interested.
The only issue that I had, and that is why I interrupted Sandeep. You see, Sandeep is my first cousin. Actually, he's very well known to me, so I could do that. He loves to talk. He talked in TEDx also, but TEDx is very different. One, it's one-way communication mostly, and two, adult motivated audience who come there on their own. Even adults don't like to listen for too long. So it's very important, like our previous speaker, Jade Quarrel, right from the beginning, she made it interactive. She trusted the audience. So when he was speaking, it was interesting. After a certain time, I felt he was speaking too long. So I jumped in with the pretext of summaries. Participants what they have learned so that they start thinking. Can we move into the case study? I think it's very important that not more than 5 minutes talking before you start asking them.
Because the span of attention is low.
Span of attention is low, and also you are sending a message that you don't know. You don't know how to think. I have to tell you everything. That is the mistake in our educational system. We need to trust them. Then only they'll develop confidence and the ability to think for themselves. And that is one of the key objectives of this. What you see, the more you trust them, of course, guidance is required. But we don't need to give them answers in the beginning every time. For example, he sent me the notes, speaking notes. His speaking notes in the beginning itself had, what can we do to stop? I said, don't tell them. You ask them. Let them come up with nothing. Okay. Let them think. No. Secondly, don't tell them which is the fake news. You ask them.
What's
Tell
the
them.
fake? Let them figure it out.
So he started changing because he's not used to that. So what I'm saying, this is what we must also guide our speakers, and not just come and give a lecture.
And no better person than you, Pritam, to
Yes,
Not
yes,
necessarily.
yes.
And,
you do it so
and
well,
one more
so
thing,
sincerely. It
one
comes
more
through
thing.
Yeah, promote, please promote.
Yeah, one more thing I want to say you. If this type of discussion is going on, please keep the more case study. We don't
Yes.
want to give lecture, just keep the case study.
Exactly.
Maximum case study.
Yes, yes,
We
yes.
have discussed a lot upon the Prime Minister cried, PM cried. We discuss a lot. We don't need to discuss a lot. Just keep the maximum case study. Then they
Yeah.
will realize that how much
Yes.
fake news is spreading.
Yes, yes, yes. That's right. Agree.
We have to try to keep the maximum case study.
Yes, yes. Case study is a very good technique, definitely.
Maximum case study is a very good technique to understand the reality.
Yes, definitely. And of course, in certain situations, another technique may have to be used. For example, they are learning how to communicate. They may have to do some role playing and all that. But basically, we have to guide every speaker who are very knowledgeable, who do not interact with kids or generally give lectures. How can you make it interactive? What can you do to make it interactive? So that they start thinking and you don't fill their heads with your views and opinions.
Views, yeah.
Children will go up as second thinkers. Even in school promote, we must let them think more to the extent possible. Diganta, you were saying something?
No, I agree 100% with
Now
what
to
you
the
said.
second part. Any other topics? We have had many, but just off the hand, what kind of topics? Yes, Lauren.
Yeah, so I am, my thing is very close to animals. And I think as kids in the school, they should know more about animal cruelty and those sort of things, environment. And I'm sure Assam, with so much of biodiversity, there must be a lot of people who are very knowledgeable, and start with, our own pets, dogs and cats, and how we should take care of them if they are interested, and move on to other pets and things like that. So that kind of a topic I would be really, really, interested in for the kids.
Very important. I would say wildlife, because, habitats, we're destroying them knowingly, unknowingly. In fact, we have a speaker, but unfortunately he seems to be running away. He's a director in Friends of Earth. That's a very big NGO in UK. He had agreed, but now he's disappearing. He was going to talk about climate change, which is not directly related to climate change. That is very critical. But we would also want to talk about the relationship between humans and other flora and fauna on this earth. How there's a delicate balance.
Right.
That's someone from the Forest Service, young officer, direct recruit or something with a lot of experience in the field. He or she will have credibility, or from an NGO. Now, any of you know anyone who's working in NGOs on this area, or who's working in the government or private sector in this area for promoting, better coordination, cohabitation of animals and human beings for a better planet, because this is an SDG, social sustainable development goal now. Please let us know. We are very interested. This mentioned it long back. But not finding a credible speaker.
Credible speaker, right? Okay.
I'm sure within our contacts we'll find some. Unfortunately, I have not had probationary training with Forest Service people, and now I'm losing touch. But Leslie,
surrounding areas of,
Lorraine, American people are very active, like them or don't
very
like
active. Let me think about it. Let me look for somebody.
Someone from an NGO is working with this animal issues and all that. Not just broaden it to more wildlife,
Right. I will look into it, and I'll see if I can find somebody.
But everyone has to interact and know this world is inhabited by animals other than us.
Right.
Yeah, of course.
So can you find someone, Lauren? Will you look for someone?
I will look for somebody who can volunteer to, speak on children.
I tell them the objective. One is to give them knowledge in the area, but secondly, to get them to think and become more aware, not just fill them with knowledge.
Yes.
Okay. Tell them that, and Diganta, if you can find. Okay, that's one topic. Any other topics that come to your mind? Diganta, any topics? Promote any extracurricular?
Diganta, it's time for you to do your bit.
I don't know why Diganta is shying away. He's a brilliant guy, but I think it's that brilliant. It's what is called the imposter syndrome. I don't deserve this, and what if I fail? That's what's happening to you.
No, nothing like that. It's just that the area that I know or I think I know is quite different from what, you know.
Diganto, these people are going to look out for jobs in a few years' time. How will they know what is required to be a suitable person to be employed? Forget government. Private sector will select the best of best within their budget, won't they? They won't take faltu people. So if you can guide them what kind of characteristics, attitudes, and skills they need to have, they will start developing for their future. This is not taught in the school. They teach them geography, advanced geography, history, advanced maths. That's how the job milega. Sorry, it's necessary for information promote, but job ussa nahi milta. You have to have special skills. हाँ सरकारी जॉब के बारे में नहीं बोल रहा है एंट्रेंस एग्जाम स्टैंडर्ड होता हम लोग जैसा लिया है नो बट मेनी पीपल आर गोइंग टू प्राइवेट सेक्टर होल प्रोसेस ऑफ सिलेक्शन यू नो वेरी वेल Diganto. Why can't you guide them? Think about it. No pressure.
Yeah, sure. Let me think about. I do want to take one session. It's just that I mean the relevance of the topic.
Diganto, just do it. Just do it.
Don't think. You're thinking too much. Achha, Pramod ji, can you think of some other extracurricular topics you think they should also like suggested by Lauren? Something.
That I'm thinking only.
Yeah. So you think, and if you get idea, please tell principal anything. You know, it could be social work, helping others. So many things they need to do to grow up as rounded, capable citizens of this country. Our country needs a lot of change in the mindset of our young people.
Yes.
So wonderful. Another good session. We are having once a month nowadays because it was becoming too heavy for us to find speakers once a week. And also it's too much pressure for us also. No Sundays off. It's getting very tough. So, okay. So what is the conclusion? Session went well. It was interactive, simple. However, some improvements can be done. Like, you know, speakers can use at least the basic points should be on slides so that they can take away. They can also be circulated the slides later. Plus they see it visually. Secondly, make sure there's some interaction quickly enough. Don't go into monologues. And thirdly, professional banner in terms of a picture, photograph, which can be backdrop. Zoom sometimes works with that, but we try that. That will be really great. And we have already thought of topics, environment one, but now we're talking about possibility of wildlife, the importance of wildlife and how we fit into the system, what we can do for a better planet for wildlife. And Diganto will think about whether he can come in also. I mean, to lose such a resource person is very sad, even though he may not think so. But you must not be so arrogant as to only consider your self-feedback as the best feedback. It's not. Our feedback. And I'm saying that after I just lost the contract, almost, I think I've almost lost it. They think I'm number 2 in the technical, but I think I'm still very good. So mine is reverse. I think highly about myself. You are too modest. So it's a both don't work.
No, nothing like that. It should be relevant, you know. I mean, Leslie
and Brother
knows
Norona has been approached. Leslie is going to forward you the email. He's been put under heavy emotional pressure. So if he doesn't come now, then we give up on it.
I called him, I wrote to him, he didn't respond. So I hope he's doing good.
Yeah, enough. You've done enough. Now Leslie's doing. He's the boss. He was trying to shoot it off my shoulders. And I said, no, you have to do now. You are his favorite student. One of his favorite students. Thank you, everybody, very much. Wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you.
The next stop will be social mapping for storytelling. Very interesting. She's a what we call cartographer from UK. And nowadays there was a big program where children and adults drew maps of their neighborhood, what is happening during COVID time. So what was the map like before COVID time and what is the map like during COVID time?
After COVID.
Very creative process. It's not just marks, how they were full of people, now they are not, how they're feeling lonely, how they are not. So this is going to be done. If you're interested, tell Leslie, we'll send you an invite.
Sure.
Interesting.
In June.
Chalo.
And then we'll see.
Bye.
Yeah.
Okay.
Leslie?
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
Sure. Guys, take care.
Bye-bye. Okay. Have a good day. Have a good night, all of y'all. Nice meeting y'all again.
Yeah, Lorraine, in 1 week, I hope to hear from you.
Yeah, you know what? I've been very busy with my garden, so backyard, and so I've been really.
Help. I want to hear from you in 1 week. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, bye.
About the new speaker. Bye bye. Bye, Pramod. Bye, Diganto.
Bye.
Good night. Good night.
Bye, everybody. Bye.
Good,
Bye,
goodness.
Lawrence sister. After so long, I saw you.